Hey there everyone, this is Jeremy, the Music Andy, and we're here today to talk about Sick from Earl Sweatshirt. This is the 5th installment in Earl's discography. I'm very excited for it. I came off of the last album, Some Rap Songs, a fan, as many of you are, I'm sure. Some Rap Songs was a very experimental, abstract album. It had a few glitch hop songs, it had a few jazz rap songs, but it was a very creative piece from Earl altogether. Earl definitely has his own sound. There's always great production behind all of the work. So again, I'm very excited for this album, and let's dive right into it. Old Friend is our first track, and it has a drumless beat and a synth loop on it. Not much to say for this song altogether. It's only about 1 minute and 30 seconds in length, but a lot of the lyrics refer to Odd Future. Odd Future is a group that Earl is part of. The group is not very active anymore. They don't really collaborate. They don't really tour. Tyler, the Creator, has gone on saying that they don't do this because a lot of their styles would clash. But Earl says something on this track that despite them not being in contact anymore, a lot of them are still old friends, which I mean is a nice message. Just because you don't see somebody a lot doesn't mean that you should abandon them as a friend. And it's nice to hear Earl saying this. This song works as a nice intro to the album, but it's not something that I would just listen to and throw on a playlist. 2010 is the second track on this, and there is an immediate switch. The keys on this are reversed, they're scattered, they're traveling all around, left, right, up, down. There's no set place for these keys on this beat. The drum beat on this is a nice, simple trap beat, and Earl's flow is very clean and direct, like his signature flow. The soundscape really doesn't evolve or progress past its initial setting, which isn't a bad thing. This track's only 2 minutes and 30 seconds in length, so I definitely didn't get bored of it at all, and it is a very nice listen overall. Sick, the self-titled track, has a clap beat with a heavy trap approach to it, slurred vocals that are hushed down, and this bass almost sounds deflated, but it's actually a very nice complementary piece to these hushed down, sloppy vocals. The ending on this song almost has the bass feeling like it's making its own track. It keeps shaking and knocking out all these different tones and rhythms. The ending may only last for a few seconds, but it definitely always catches my attention, and it's always something that I'm looking forward to hearing because I hear a new tone or I hear a new rhythm popping out each time. Vision featuring Z Loopers is the 4th track on this, and it has a beautiful climbing and falling key section on this. And there's these haunting, ghostly vocal samples that are chasing these keys around. Z Loopers is not somebody I'm particularly familiar with. And with saying that, I also didn't like their feature on this. The vocals were a little bit too drawn out. They were a little sloppy for a really cleanly produced track. Earl kind of comes onto this and corrects it with his direct, clear vocal delivery style. Also, I'm a sucker for field recordings, and the ending of the song has a recording on it that has a very beautiful message on it, and it just works very well placed in between these beats. The production, like I said at the beginning of this video, is always a plus for Earl, and I feel like that's carried on here. They're not as experimental or abstract, but it is still very cleanly produced. Tabula Rosa is the 5th track on this, and it's featuring Armand Hammer. The title is in reference to a theory that somebody is born without mental content or knowledge at the time of their birth. Knowledge or mental content comes from perceiving and real-life experiences only. Both rappers in the beginning really don't touch on this subject. Earl kind of touches on it in the end, and he does it in a very interesting way. He says that despite all of the events that have happened in his life, his heart having all this baggage, he doesn't have the symptoms of somebody that has heartbreak. I think this kind of contradicts the title a little bit, because if you were somebody that only perceived and experienced heartbreak, I feel like with reference to the title, you yourself would be somebody of heartbreak. Unless, of course, Earl is saying that he is strong enough because of these experiences to overcome heartbreak or mental illness or anything that comes with these experiences, which is a very interesting way to do it. Overall, this is a jazz rap song through and through. There's a very light tapping of keys, very gentle pats on the drum set. It's a very delicate track, but all 3 of the rappers that are on here are very aggressive, very direct. It's almost like they're speaking like a pastor at a church. Lyle is the 6th track on this, and it is a much more groovy jazz approach compared to the last one. The crackling on the track gives it kind of a vintage feel, and there's a nice collection of different instruments looped over this. The guitar has a funk rhythm, the horns are very triumphant, and the drum kind of has this laid-back swagger tone to it. And the bass on this is absolutely filthy. It's low, it's dirty, and it's just very funky. It's a great bass. Lobby track 7 is going back to the experimental abstract approach that was on the second song, 2010. This is disjointed, it's very spacious. Wild tones are thrown at the end of this track once Earl's voice fades from in to out. It has a lot of attention to detail. It carries out the idea all the way through. It's a very nice track overall. Like I said, the ending of the song has some very wild tones that draw your ear in, and it perfectly segues into the next track, and I think that this is an overall very nice song. God Laughs track 8 gives me this vibe that like Earl's speaking from a can with a string and another can at the end of it, or like he's shouting down the tunnel of a pipe or something like that. It's very echoey, at least on my ears it is. The minimal beat with no drums, paired along these euphoric, lush synths, is very peaceful and meditative. The lyrics and vocals are very trance-like. They're flowing to this rhythm that Earl is crafting. I love this style of drone hip-hop. I like when Earl gets experimental and he showcases it on this song. Titanic, the 9th track on this, might be my favorite track on the entire album. It's very aggressive. It's very forward-marching. I feel like Earl is backing me to a corner, just assaulting me with his words and vocal delivery. The beat on this is glitch hop, and again, it kind of has that move around your entire headphones experience like the second track. The more slurred vocal delivery that Earl does on this complements the stripped down synths and off-key scale that's being used. Fire in the Hole is the final track, and honestly, it's not a bad song, but it might be the most forgettable song on the entire album. It's more upbeat, it's more busy, however, the instruments don't really feel that inspired to me. But still saying that, the piano at the end is very beautiful. Feels a bit out of touch on this album, but this whole album kind of feels a little out of touch. There's not a clear direction, so it is a nice playoff to this album. Overall, this is a very interesting album that doesn't really have a theme to be centered, focused on. It didn't leave as big of an impact on me as some rap songs did. It wasn't as experimental, as abstract, as willing to take a risk. Despite saying all of that, I still think it is a nice collection of songs. They have a middle high, but they do have kind of a forgettable low at some points. I'm going to give this album 7.4 sweatshirts out of 10. What did you think of this album? What albums would you like me to review in the future? Leave a comment below and let me know. Please subscribe if you like the content, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.